We've got it.
Yeah.
It's here. The Quest 3S.
We're headed out to get the Quest 3S today. We pre-ordered it earlier last week or the week before that. I can't remember. Here comes Dan with his energy drink. His rain.
FMO Nation.
FMO Nation. You know, if we split up, the odds of one of us surviving is better than being just in one vehicle.
I'm not that concerned about it. It's like a mile away.
So, okay, what are your thoughts on the Quest 3S as a whole? What are you thinking? Where your head's at today? What are your kind of thoughts on the inner workings of it?
On the inner workings of it?
Yeah, it's like, how similar do you think it's actually going to be compared to the 3? Like, do you feel like it's going to be
I think it's going to look like the Quest 2 through the viewfinder. I think when you're in it,
yeah,
it's going to be like, oh, this feels very familiar, and then it's going to have a couple extra features that make it. It's going to feel like a Quest 3 when you're wearing it on your face. Because I saw the demo version of it. I was at Walmart the other day, and they had it on display, and it's got the same foam facial interface that the Quest 3 does, and it looks like it's the same speaker arm assembly.
I see.
So I'm really concerned about the fact that Meta did not seem to fix that speaker arm O-ring issue at all. Either that, or they just decided, oh, let's recycle these because we're not selling enough Quest 3s.
Maybe that was part of it.
I started thinking about that the other day, and we didn't talk about that on the show, but I started wondering, is this a, hey, we didn't sell enough Quest 3s move?
That could be they needed a smaller price point, a more budget-friendly headset to get the product to move.
Right.
And you're kind of, I don't know what it costs to revamp the shell or whatever that cost looks like. So maybe there's some truth to that.
If it's primarily using all of the same components of the Quest 3, except it's got a cheaper LCD, basically. It doesn't have the pancake lenses. It's got the Fresnel lenses. It's got the single panel LCD. So you cut some costs there, and then you're using the same parts that you've already got in your inventory because you didn't sell enough Quest 3s. Well, that's like the perfect cost-cutting measure, and you get to keep the Quest 3 in the line.
Now, the Quest 2 had the Fresnel lenses, right?
Quest 2 had the Fresnel lenses.
So maybe they had leftover lenses too?
Maybe.
So maybe this is really just a Franken unit.
Frankenquest. Yeah. I mean, that's how it looks. Because when you look at it from the outside, you're like, oh, that's a Quest 3 part. Oh, that's a Quest 2 part. Oh, that's a Quest 3 part.
Yeah.
I think this is a really good marketing move on their part to move a lot of product that they could otherwise not move. Because what other push were they going to have before Christmas? Oh, buy the Quest 3 this year. We know you guys didn't last year. Like, we tried to give you a free game and you still didn't buy it.
I still didn't play that game.
No, I still didn't play that game either. And I heard it was really good.
Was it Asgard?
Yeah, Asgard's Wrath or
something like that.
So I couldn't even tell you now.
See?
With all of the emails that I received about it. Don't forget to download your free copy of Asgard's Wrath 3.
We had like 10 units. I've not used it once.
Got an email every 5 minutes about it.
Pulling in to Best Buy. As you may see, the big sign that says Best Buy in yellow and black.
Woo!
We're both on Team Gray today.
I thought this would work well just with the whole setup, so
yeah.
I don't know. I was feeling kind of grayish today.
Yeah.
We're gonna go pick up the book to record. I'm just checking. I don't know. I'm gonna be honest.
It's different.
You guys can't tell, but it stinks in here. Hey, this is what you need, Kieran. 85 inches right here. 85 inches. TTCL.
Not sponsored.
It's only $1,300.
Oh, only.
$1,400.
85 inches. That's way too many inches.
I need to pick up an order. Let me pull this up real quick.
It's Quest 3S time.
I used to work for Best Buy a long time ago.
He knows his way around. He used to work at Simply Mac too, but they're all closed now. Pretty much as soon as he left, they all shut down.
It's in the way. Sweet revenge. Picking up the Quest 3S today.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, you guys know VR before?
Yeah, my son has two, which is super sad because it went out.
We fix them. Yeah, I wish we were shooting a video for, yeah.
Nice! So you have like a fire that again?
FixMyOculus.com.
Okay. But the controllers went out.
Yeah, we can fix those.
Oh, okay, that'd be nice. Yeah, because I don't have $500
That's all I got right now.
We're here locally too.
Oh, really?
Oh my gosh, it's Mr. Beast.
That's the level of YouTube fame that I aspire to, but will never achieve. Mr. Beast
You want to
bars.
do FMO chocolate bars?
Yeah, why not? Maybe we could just do chocolate headsets, like the chocolate Easter bunnies. Yeah. They're hollow on the inside. We could just do like a silicone mold, pour chocolate in it. Oh, this is a good. Let's turn it into a good.
Do it for
idea.
Christmas video?
Chocolate controllers.
I can dig it.
Last night, you know,
Yeah.
There you go.
That.
Sweet.
That's it.
Wow. It says
Gotta get all
Batman
this
on it.
B-roll.
Okay, what's the first thing we're gonna do when we get to the shop?
Break it.
We gotta test it first. Come on.
Well, we should download Arkham Shadow and play it.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah. Why don't we do that?
Yeah.
We bought it
Back to the shop.
Okay, so without further ado, let's take a look at what's inside the Quest 3S. Let's take a look at the box first. We've got all our warnings and our barcodes. They're really pumping up the Batman thing. Got some images of Batman. Includes Batman Arkham Shadow. Offer ends 12/31/26. Terms apply. Inside the box, we've got the MetaQuest 3S headset, white, standard facial interface pre-installed. You know, when they put it in parentheses, it makes it sound like there's other options. Is there a Quest 3S that's not white? Glass is spacer, so that means that the facial interface is probably different than the Quest 3's. We've got the two MetaQuest Touch Plus controllers. So this is the same as the Quest 3. We've got AA batteries. We've got the wrist straps, which are pre-installed. The Batman Arkham Shadow is included. We've got the USB-C power adapter and the USB-C charging cable. And then we've got everything else in Spanish.
Tú hablas español.
MetaQuest 3S. 128 gigs. Okay, all right. So, same as the Quest 3, we're going to take off our little tabs here so we can take the outer box off. Yep, because that won't come off unless we take these little tabs off. It's very satisfying. Ooh, fancy. Now we've officially opened it.
Can't take it back.
Can't take it back. Okay. Interesting. Wow. That is quite the design. That's way different
Yeah.
than anything else
I
that
like
they've
that
put
box.
together. It just totally expands out. Just whew, feels fancy. All right, what do we got here? Start here. Ooh. Start here. Okay, so this is so we can download the app. And we've got our head strap adjustment, our headset, our controllers, just basic instructions. Very cool. What else we got here? Elevate your VR experience. Not sure what this is for. Oh, it's the accessories. And then protect your MetaQuest with the Meta Warranty Plus. And then safety and warranty guide. Very cool. And that's all we've got in that little box. Okay. What do we do? Controllers next?
Sure can.
let's
Fake glass are very similar.
yeah. Yeah,
The
these
ones
are
we love are the Quest 3.
these are identical to the Quest 3 controllers. No change here at all. Got that same battery compartment. Very cool. I do love that they went with the mat on the trigger for the Quest 3 controllers. For the Quest Plus, what are they? Touch Plus controllers versus the Quest 2 controllers. They had the glossy trigger. That feels way nicer, but it's identical to the Quest 3, so no news there. And then let's see here. I don't think I can take the eyeglass spacer without taking the headset out, so we're just going to take the headset out. Okay. We've got our glasses spacer thing right there. And first look here. These are identical to the Quest 2 lenses. Identical to the Quest 2 lenses. Even clicks. I bet you that's the same LCD module.
We were talking about that.
Yeah.
Where we think, yeah.
It's got the 3-way IPD adjuster. You can click it 1, 2, or 3. And then, okay, here it is. The Quest 3S. I still can't figure out exactly what these are. Those jut out a lot more than I thought they would. I thought that those would be more like holes, but look at them. They stick out from the front. I see a lot of broken cameras in the future.
Oh, yeah.
A lot. You can't tell me that somebody's not going to run into a wall first thing. And I mean, look at that. Has there ever been a Quest or any sort of Oculus? Has there ever been a VR device that you're aware of where the camera's jutted out from the design?
I think there have always been inlaid, kind of like the cameras on the side here.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the closest thing would be like the Quest 2 cameras on the corners, which are kind of exposed. Here, I've got some VR headsets behind us here. Inset, kind of exposed. Inset, kind of exposed. Probably the Quest 1. That's probably as close as you get to a camera that comes away from the body, because they do actually, I mean, they're inset here, but they do kind of pop out a little bit.
Yeah.
Go ahead and, oh, interesting. That's the power button right there. I thought that was the power button.
So what is that button?
I don't know. Maybe it's like a mute button.
Oh.
That's the power button there on the side, and there's your LED indicator. So yeah, so to your point that you were asking earlier, what is that? These are not the same cameras that I thought they were going to be. These look different. Wild. Okay. Let's go ahead and take this strap off here. That feels just like the Quest 3 strap. I'm curious to know if this strap actually would fit on a Quest 3. And then, let's see. These are always so tough to pull out the first time. Okay, perfect.
That look different?
It's way different. So yeah, set these off over here for now. So that's the Quest 3 facial interface, and that's the Quest 3S facial interface. So they are different. Some similarities, but there's no adjustability on this one at all. That's, I guess, part of the price cutting there, is that they gave us the eyeglass spacer instead of the adjustable facial interface. Very similar, but different. Actually, I kind of like this one. This one's got more padding on the nose. Look at that. There's no padding on the nose of the Quest 3 facial interface versus that one. Has the additional padding. Oh, it is different. Okay.
It is.
Okay. I totally overlooked this, but there's no auxiliary jack on this side. So even though it's got basically the same fitment, you would have to level that out or drill a hole here. But if you drilled a hole in the Quest 3S strap, then it would probably fit. Okay, so here's question 2. Since we've gotten this far, where is there an auxiliary? There's no auxiliary port. There's no external audio on the Quest 3S. So if you're somebody who loves their headphones, if you're somebody who loves their little external speaker headphones, you are going to be sorely disappointed because the Quest 3S does not have any sort of speaker jack anywhere on it. It doesn't have the little IPD. There's no IPD sensor at all. So obviously the Quest 2 had that notorious black screen IPD problem, and the Quest 3 still has the IPD proximity sensor. So where is the proximity sensor at? Or does it just not have one? And if it doesn't have one, then how does it know when it's on your head? You want to power it on?
Let's do it.
Okay. Let's go ahead and take this off. It's very satisfying. That's good stuff. There's our logo. We're turning on. Cool. So we got to pair this device up. Seems like our controllers are working. I will say there's something about the fact that I've got the full color pass through. Even though I know that these are the Fresnel lenses and not the pancake lenses, and I know that this is the single panel LCD, there's something about having the full color pass through that makes it feel higher res. Like just the black and white pass through on the Quest 2 just feels so dated at this point. And I know that this is the same resolution as the Quest 2, but it just feels better. Wi-Fi. So far, this is the exact same setup process as the Quest 3. I'm not noticing any differences. Okay, updating the software to the latest 19 minutes remaining. 6 minutes remaining. Okay, 4 minutes remaining.
What's that button at the bottom of the...
We don't know yet. It won't let me use it. While it's going through this update process, I'm kind of feeling around, and these 2 cameras at the top are definitely the pass-through cameras. Like if I cover
like
up here, yeah, I definitely can't see. So it seems like we've got probably tracking cameras on the bottom here. Yep, my screen just went dark. So these 4 on the bottom are your tracking cameras. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we've got the 2 pass-through cameras. I still can't figure out what these are for.
Is that circle the power button? The one on the bottom?
So the power button's actually over here.
Oh.
It just says button inactive during setup. You'll learn more about this button and be able to use it after setup.
God.
I know. First of all, Meta, how dare you make me wait for this very valuable information. So the IPD adjustment's like the Quest 2. It's on the inside.
Okay, you can click it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's literally the same.
I personally like that better. I don't know why, but I personally like that over the pancake.
I really don't mind it. You know what's really exciting about this? We're going to be able to provide Quest 3S lens replacements right out the gate. Right out the gate. So we're still updating to the latest software. So just so you know, if you get this headset out of the box, it's going to take you 30 minutes to update the software. It takes forever. Welcome. Let's get started. Oh, this is cool. I've got stars everywhere.
Let's check out the menu that'll let you browse apps and manage settings. It's called the Universal Menu because you can open it anytime from anywhere.
That's wild.
Press
This
the
just stays in
meta button on your
place.
controller.
Nothing here. Nothing new anyway. It's the same.
Well done.
It
Now
already
you know
sounds
how to control
completely
your
different, though.
experience using your
Yeah,
menu.
it does sound different. This is a totally different
Here's what to
walkthrough.
discover next.
Okay, discovering the action button. Aha!
There are 2 types of surroundings you can choose from when you're in your headset. And you can use the action button to switch between them anytime.
Oh, so it's like
The
a
first
pass-through
type
button.
is when you can see your room, just like you are now. You
Oh.
Take a look around.
That's
If
cool.
you ever want a change of scenery, you can change your environment. You can hang out in the desert,
So it is just a pass-through button.
That's cool though.
It is cool. It's better than
Now you know how to
Yeah.
use the
Double
action
tapping.
button to switch between seeing your room and being in a whole new reality.
It's amazing how
Let's
far
practice
hand tracking
using
has
a
come.
menu
Oh,
with
yeah.
your hands and swipe on it directly. That's how you do things like browsing and selecting apps. Give it a try.
Didn't just hear the noises as you tapped.
Perfect. You can also
I did
use your
perfect.
hands to
That's
move
perfect score.
Beautiful.
Try getting it as far away from you as you can.
Okay, so let's talk about it. I like it. I will say to the naysayers who thought, oh, this is just going to be a Quest 2 Plus, not the Quest 3 Lite. This is definitely a Quest 3 Lite. It feels like a Quest 3. It works like a Quest 3. It's very familiar. If you're part of either platform, if you're on the Quest 2 or on the Quest 3, it's going to feel familiar. But there's just a lot of things about this that feel more like a Quest 3 than like a Quest 2. But it definitely feels more like a Quest 3S than like a Quest 2 Plus, which was a lot of that stuff that we were hearing online, that, oh, this is just an increase or an improved Quest 2 because it's got the same LCD, it's got the same resolution, and I argued against that, and I feel very validated in arguing against that because that is definitely not the case. It is definitely a Quest 3 with some features that are designed to cut costs, and you can see what those are. So even profile-wise, if we just look at these two headsets compared to these two headsets, anything from the speaker arms on these two headsets are the exact same, except for the fact that you don't have an auxiliary jack on the Quest 3S at all, compared to the speaker arms on the Quest 2 headset, just totally different. The charge port is the same design as it is on the Quest 3. Okay, so let's do some major takeaways. Let's do some thoughts on the Quest 3S in comparison to the Quest 2 and the Quest 3. And then we'll do some deeper videos on this later on, but just some surface level thoughts just right out the gate. One, man, if you've got the external speakers and you really like those, you're going to be sad because this has no external speaker jack. For me, I don't really mind that much, but I know a lot of people really like those speakers that come out over their ears, so they're going to have to find a different way to deal with that. From the repair perspective on things, from the Fix My Oculus repair perspective on these things, there's a couple really key takeaways I want to get into. Things that I don't like the fact that these cameras are exposed here. I don't like the fact that these aren't inset the way that the Quest 2 cameras are. Even the Quest 3 cameras, for as much as they kind of jut out from the frame, are protected by some semblance of a plastic shell here, whereas these are they're just exposed. And I think that somebody sets this down too hard on a table or bumps into a wall or hits their controller against their head, and those cameras just go out, lights out first time. I see that being a real problem. Other things I don't like. I don't like the Quest 3 speaker arm design. This has been a real problem for Quest 3 users in the time that we've been repairing Quest 3s, which is roughly the last year now. I would say probably 50% of our Quest 3 repairs are just this speaker arm, because this speaker arm, unlike the Quest 2 speaker arm, doesn't mount inside the shelf frame. It sits outside the shelf frame and kind of hooks on, and then there's a plastic O-ring that kind of sits inside, wedges inside, and holds the charge port, and that flimsy little piece of plastic just breaks off at the slightest amount of leverage. Quest 2 speaker arm was much more durable, and I know some people still broke this. I mean, it's not like it was impervious to damage, but because it sits inside the shelf frame, you had to use a lot more leverage to break it. The Quest 3S has the same speaker arm design as the Quest 3, and to me that's a total misfire, because I think that we're going to see a lot of these coming in with that same sort of issue. And obviously Meta doesn't make those little O-ring parts available. You know, what should be like a $1 or $2 part, you know, you have to tear down a $500 unit in order to obtain one of those little O-rings. So that's a big problem. I don't really like the fact that we've gone back to having the microphones on the underside, kind of like the Quest 2. The Quest 2 has the dual microphone on the undercarriage here, and the Quest 3, we don't have that problem. There's no microphone there. And Maybe Meta had some sort of audiophile adjustment that they had to make. They just weren't happy with the Quest 3 microphones for whatever reason. But as far as damage and repair goes, this is way more prone to liquid damage because you set this down on a table, it's got a little bit of water on it, you breathe too much, and your breath comes out of your mouth, and it, over time, if you've got a lot of moisture in your breath or you live in a humid area, there goes your microphone because they're just sitting right there to capture any liquid that comes out. Things I do like. From the perspective of somebody who repairs VR headsets for a living, there's a couple of things that I really, really like about the Quest 3S so far, especially compared to the Quest 3, but compared to the Quest 2 as well. First thing that I like is we're back to having a head strap retainer that's independent of the facial interface. So if somebody breaks one of these, you don't have to replace the whole shell frame. So on the Quest 3, the head strap retainer is just built into the shell here. So if that breaks, I've got to repair the entire shell, which means I got to tear down the whole unit. On the Quest 2, if the head strap retainer breaks, it just hangs onto these little teeth and just screws in. And that's like a 2-step process compared to a 40-step process. So that's going to be a lot easier to repair on the Quest 3S. I'm glad that that carried over from the Quest 2. I'm glad that we went back to the plastic facial interface. And we have a plastic facial interface that doesn't have a proximity sensor. I don't know how they managed it. I don't know how the headset is going to know that it's on your face, and when it's not on your face, when it is on your face, maybe you just have to turn it off manually. I've not experimented with it that much, but I love the fact that we don't have a proximity sensor because those are super prone to liquid damage. And I love the fact that it's not rubberized because probably 1 out of 4 of these that I would see in the shop would be damaged either around the eyes or around the edge here where people had tried to pry this away and they just didn't know how to do it, didn't know what they were doing. They poke a hole through it. And now you've just got a hole in this forever because, you know, where are you going to find a new one? Thing number 3 that I really, really like. This has much better ventilation all the way around than either of these headsets. Because, and you can just tell that there is a wider gap that goes around the outside. Now, maybe that makes it more prone to having dust inside. Maybe that makes it more prone to getting liquid inside. But it looks like there's a gasket that kind of goes all the way around too. And it should help with the air ventilation. This should help keep the headset cool. And I imagine that that's why they did that. When you compare the gap on this headset to the gap on the Quest 2, you can tell that that design choice was made because they needed more air in there, probably for the bigger processor. But for whatever reason, they definitely made that bigger. And I like the fact that it's going to have more ventilation all the way around now. The last thing that I really like, and again, this is just first impressions. We've not torn one of these down yet. We don't really know what's going on inside. But one thing that I really, really actually like, and again, I hate to disagree with the naysayers online, I like the fact that we brought the Quest 2 lenses back. These lenses, from a repair technician's perspective, are way more repairable on the Quest 2 than the Quest 3 lenses. The Quest 3 lenses are a nightmare. They're a nightmare if you scratch them. They're a nightmare if you try to repair them. And they're a nightmare to try to replace. The independent LCD trade-off is not enough to justify how irreparable and easily damaged these lenses are. You get one of these lenses scratched, you take a little bit of polywatch and a nice buffing tool and a little bit of elbow grease, and you can clean that up and you can make it look almost brand new. You scratch one of these and it's ruined and you just have to deal with it. And then you have a $500 headset that just messed up and has a little blurry spot in it forever. So good luck. And I think people are going to be turned off just at face value by the idea of having a Quest 2 Fresnel style lens or the idea of having a single panel LCD compared to this. But you got to remember, less moving parts means more reliability, right? This is going to work better for longer with less issues because in order to change the IPD, I just have to click it here. And this is way less prone to failure. I could sit here and click this 1,000 times and it's way less prone to failure than the 20 gears and tiny spring mechanisms that take to make this IPD work. Not to mention the fact that because you've got 2 independent panel LCDs, both of these could potentially go bad versus just having one single LCD panel that could potentially fail. Now it can fail, but less moving parts means more reliability, broadly speaking. And like I was saying, I think people might be turned off by the Fresnel lenses. They might be turned off by the fact that it's just a single panel LCD. But when you add the full color pass-through cameras to this, it really doesn't matter. As somebody who uses a Quest 3 almost every day and puts their head inside of a Quest 2 to test it almost every single day, I can't tell the difference between this and this. Maybe there's some really high-res games that really take advantage of the Quest 3, but for most people's practical use, this is great. And not only is it great, but it's way more repairable. And for me, repairable means good, because that means that people out there can make their devices and their dollar last longer. And that's it. Those are our first impressions. That's what we think about the Quest 3. We are going to do a teardown on this unit, so stay tuned for that. We'll have that up here in the next few days. As soon as we're kind of done getting this video out, we'll have another video out where we get a chance to actually take a look inside at the components and see what makes it work. Is it mostly Quest 2 parts? Is it mostly Quest 3 parts? Is it something totally new and different? I have reason to believe it's going to be a lot of reused parts from both of these headsets, like we talked about earlier on the way to go pick it up. But that's just a conspiracy. So if you guys are out there watching this and you haven't had a chance to subscribe to the channel yet, please do consider subscribing and consider giving us that like so that you can stay up to date. And when we do the teardown video on the Quest 3, you will get notified of it so that you can see what's going on the inside. And then final word on that is that when we do the Quest 3S teardown video, we are going to put it back together, and then we're going to do it as a giveaway. All right, guys, that's all I got for you today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for checking it out, and we will see you on the next one.
There you go. Yeah, that's good.
There's gotta be a
Merry Christmas!
Merry early Christmas.
Merry early.